What's good, world? It's your boy, Bears Prison Flemings, back at it again with another episode of the Find Your Flow Show, a podcast dedicated towards creativity, authenticity, and expression. Be sure to follow us on all social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, and share. On today's episode, we're joined by James Braddock, aka Jimbo, a graphic artist, illustrator, 3D sculptor, painter and muralist, and product designer. This episode is very close to my heart because Jimbo is the first artist to ever give me a piece of art that started me on my journey in learning about fine art, appreciation of creativity, and expression. So come along as we talk about his creative beginnings, his journey, how he views artwork, discipline, creativity, and so much more. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Enjoy. What's good, world? It's your boy Prism, back again with another episode of the Find Your Flow podcast. This episode we have my brother from another, James Braddock, aka Jimbo. What's going on, bro?
What up, Doji?
What's the word with you, man? What's the word with you?
Sipping on this little mimosa situation.
Nice little concoctions going on. You feel what I'm saying? Like some slight. So first off, just for anybody who might not be familiar with you, can you basically tell me who you are, what you do, general background?
So I do graphic design, I do 3D design, I do paint, drawing, everything across the board almost. My main focus right now is in like 3D design, graphic design, getting back into like painting and illustrations. The biggest thing probably about me is I love to learn. You know what I'm saying? That's probably like the biggest skill I probably think that I have. I started out doing t-shirt designs. I was in Grand Rapids Community College in 2012 for like maybe like 2 or 3 semesters. And then I just was like doing some sketches in the book, and I was like, damn, I want to do some t-shirts, you know? So I was just like, all right, I was just hell-bent on doing some t-shirts. So as soon as I got to the crib, I just linked up with some homies who I actually had met out there, and was like, yo, we gonna do a little t-shirt line. And they was like, all right, fuck it, we gonna do a t-shirt line. And we built this rickety ass like screen press in the garage from like 2x4s. We went and found like clamps, and like I think we printed probably like 30 or 40 shirts off that joint. We had plastisol, and if you know anything about like print t-shirts, like you can do like the regular like wash joints where you can air dry them, you can do them with a heat gun, but plastisol you gotta do with like high heat. So you can do it with a heat gun, but it's not gonna cure all the way. So we was like putting them joints in the oven. So like I'm in my mom's crib.
Trapping with the stove.
Yeah, you feel me? Like, so we in my mom's crib and like we opening up all the windows because the shit is low-key toxic. High-key toxic.
Like not even low.
Toxic.
Not even low.
So like we cooking them joints in the oven, trying to make sure you don't burn them. Of course we burnt a few. My mama was like, nigga, like no, like no more of this. Like no more of this. So then we went to my other homie crib, and then his mom was like, no more of this. So like then we kind of got to a point where we found, you know Felly, don't you?
Felly,
he does the airbrushing. He's done City Walls a few times.
Word.
He's like an OG in the art game.
Bet.
But I don't even remember how we met him, but we met him and he had like this storefront.
Shout out to Felly.
Shout out to Felly, man. For real though, like for real. He had a storefront and he had like an octopus screen press in the back.
Word.
And he was just like, yo, like just give me $1 off of every shirt you sell. You know what I'm saying? Just letting us use the equipment. We already had the plastisol and everything, and he just like let us just come in and like do whatever.
And cook for real.
And like cook. So like that was cool. And then from there, I think like we started to meet the people from the Bottega. You know, I reached out to Flacco and I was just like buying some artwork. And like when I met him, I was just like, yo, what you think about these t-shirt designs? And he told me what he thought. I met Backpack. I met a few other people that day, and like I just remember being like, dang, I think I want to be like some type of artist. Like, this is kind of crazy.
Real.
So like he hit me and he was like, yo, you want to be my apprentice? At the time, I'm thinking like, oh man, like, I'm about to be like auditor, like code for like the first few weeks, bro. Like, nobody was really like showing me nothing, so I was just like throwing paint around. And from that point, dang, am I talking too much?
Nah, bro, nah. Like,
Alright,
I mean, well, if I could interject, just for people who might not be familiar necessarily with like Detroit art history, what is necessarily the Bottega? Like, and then could you maybe speak on just, I mean, you're already kind of going into it, but what that experience kind of added to your journey as an artist. And I mean, honestly, already you've dropped so many gems, but I don't want to stop them, you know what I mean? Because you've already expressed, you know, your tenacity in seizing the opportunity, putting yourself out there, bringing people together, you know what I'm saying, in terms of a common cause, and then finding a way to execute even when life kind of tried to shut you down. And so already before you even started making art, I feel like you had an artist's heart. You feel what I mean? And it's funny because I feel like anybody who's a creative can automatically kind of resonate with being faced with adversity when you have a certain vision, but it's like, well, I don't know if I necessarily have the tools around me to execute that vision. But then when you literally just put the grinding in, when you put the time in, and when you just do with what you have available, the way life will just kind of open up for you. So like I said, it's already a very interesting story off top, but like I was saying, like for anybody who might not be familiar with what the Bottega is, what is the Bottega, and can you continue to expound on how it impacted your artistic journey?
Alright, so the Bottega as a whole was it was really just like an art incubation space, like for young black artists to just like come and perform and like put on and whatever art it is that you had, like that was a place where you could show your art. So for the people who don't know, like you got your Detroit Chase, you got Days Loaf Studer, Richie, Belly, Night Americans, of course you was in there, you was a part of that. But like stuff like that, and then a lot of that space was just more just based on just like letting people just come in and just like show off the art that they've done. And like over time, you know, like everybody started to figure out their own niches, and I think the biggest thing about that space was it just gave people the freedom to just come and be, you know what I'm saying, and just like be whoever it is you are. Like nobody gonna judge you. If they do judge you, it's probably gonna be a little bit of an issue, depending on, you know what I'm saying, like who's around the circumstance. But like, you know, like it was just really that space for people to make, you know what I'm saying, and create and like really just like hone that skill. Like if there was something that you wanted to do or you had questions or like there was a multitude of people around for you to get those answers if you were around enough. So like that's what the Bottega was. Like for me, I can't speak for everybody, but for me that's what it was and that's what it stood for, you know. So like once I got there, it was like it was almost just like an everyday thing, you know what I'm saying? I was working at the Greyhound, a crazy place for a 19, 20, 21-year-old person to work is.
If you don't know about Detroit buses, man, like listen, let me tell you.
Listen.
You haven't seen life. You don't know life until you've experienced Detroit buses. Just because.
Bro.
Can't even explain it.
crazy. But even working that job, I had time to just draw. You know what I'm saying? And like Flacco and Trey Isaac and Bree Gann, all of these people was Candy was making art. Like all of these people was like making art, and not only were they making art, they had knowledge about art. So I was behind in a lot of that. My stepdad, little background on him, he was a graphic designer for Campbell Ewald, but he had, I want to say, 10 to 20 sketchbooks filled with like characters, like comic book style characters, like Alex Ross, like old school Todd McFarlane style characters. And I would just like look at these sketches and just be like, dog, like I want to draw like this. Like, you know, so like I had seen that already, you know what I'm saying? Because he went to school, he went to you killing me. He went to Grand Rapids. He went to Grand Rapids somewhere. I forget what college it is. But he went out there and he got his bachelor's in fine arts and like all of that graphic design. So he taught me a lot of stuff just by mistake, kind of.
Really?
So,
well, we won't even say by mistake, but by almost osmosis. Just absorption.
Just absorption. Just throwing stuff, just to throw stuff, you know? So, like, I always had the love for that. But, like, back to the Bottega and all of that, it was just, like, that was a space where I just really felt like I could just be as creative as I wanted to be. You know, I had never been around that many black people that made art. You know what I'm saying? That made music or like did anything like that, or like did anything, you know. A lot of the people that I knew or like hung around was either like we scamming or we doing whatever we doing, or like, or they was just boring. You know what I'm saying? Or just playing
civilians. Nothing wrong with squares. Nothing wrong with squares. But you know,
there's nothing wrong with that. But like that's not.
But that's not me.
Yeah, that's not me, and that's not who I am. And that's not what I identify with. So it's just like. I mean, of course, we have to identify with that sometimes, but like I can't do that all the time.
You know.
So it's like, but yeah. So that place was that, and then my parents left for North Carolina. I want to say around 2013, 2014. So I'll never forget. My mom was like, she was like, "So what you about to do?" Artist. She was like, okay, where you gonna stay? I think I'm gonna stay with my homie. She was like, you think or you know? And I was like, I think. And she was like, okay. She was like, well, I'm not gonna tell you not to do this. She was like, because I don't want to be the person standing in your way if you are actually successful. You know what I'm saying? And like,
which is real.
Which was real. You know what I'm saying? And like, honestly, it was, at first I was like, oh no. She say that, but then it was like
it takes a lot of trust to even say that.
That's a blessing,
you know,
in a way, you know. So like for her to say that, I was kind of like, dang, okay, well like you know that I can step out and just be a man, you know what I'm saying? And like I lived in that building, you know what I'm saying? So like I lived through the parties, I lived through the turn-ups, I lived through everything. Like I slept there, you know. Sometimes the heat wasn't on. It was not a glorious.
Cold winters. Yeah. Cold winters.
Yeah, it wasn't really a glorious life. You know what I'm saying? But like in that time, one thing that I did really realize, when you ain't got food, you know what I'm saying, or you don't have like somebody to talk to, or you don't have just like something to like make you feel or to distract you. You know what I'm saying? You got your art, you know, and like that's kind of like.
And then the art becomes the comfort.
Then the art becomes the comfort, and it's like for me, I've never been a person to be like, oh, I'm just gonna create out of a bad place, or I'm just gonna create out of this space, or you know, like I just want to make stuff because I like to make stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I just have a natural love for like the technique and the skill and the feeling, and just like you know what I'm saying? Like I love those things. So. I think a lot of that was crafted in those darkest, you know what I'm saying?
The dark days.
Yeah, because you find little nuggets of like skill or like little things where it's just like, oh shit, like wow, like this low key just like cut my work time down a quarter, you know what I'm saying? Or like
Right.
I just figured something out to where it's like, oh man, I can shave like this, or like, oh, I can use this kind of technique, you know. But like even in research too.
And so, wow, I wanna stop you here just to say, like, man, it's so crazy because I've already seen your story. You gave me my first piece of art. You feel what I'm saying? Like you turned me onto all this. You feel what I'm saying? So it's just crazy because I feel like for the time and the opportunity that we had, you know what I'm saying? Like it's such a rare thing for people to be able to experience. You know what I'm saying? Like magic in a bottle almost. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to ask you, for somebody who might be watching this, who might not necessarily have like a creative avenue or a creative hub to get inspiration from, what are some of the gems? What are some of the lessons? What are some of the biggest takeaways that you can think of, just, you know what I'm saying, off the top of the head, that you took from those moments, that you took from those experiences that have kind of lasted in your brain, not only as a creative, but just as a person, as a human,
Appreciating technique. And even past appreciating technique, appreciating why people make the art that they make, regardless of what it looks like. So I think those two things were like the things that kind of like stuck, and you had to like, it was like kind of trial by fire, you know what I'm saying, with those, it's a weird thing, you know what I'm saying, because you kind of got to be like, you got to feel insulted, you have to have somebody look at your work and say something to you, or like you have to hear something about your work, or like, or you see somebody else's work and you have a preconceived notion in your mind about their work before you even talk to them, you know what I'm saying, so like, just a quick example, like I had a shorty tell mentor homie like, yo, why you wasting your time on this kid? The portions are bad. This is this and the third, blah blah blah. And she just like ripped me for like, I want to say 4 or 5 minutes straight. Nothing positive to say, And like from that moment, it was like, okay, you ripped me, but you also told me what I was bad at. So regardless of if you were trying to hold me or you were trying to actually like motivate me, whatever the,
you helped me regardless.
You know what I'm saying? You helped me regardless, but like you told me what I was bad at. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a big thing out of it too. Is like you have a sense of community and people who know you as a person, so they know how to approach you and say, hey, this is okay for what you're doing, but you can like push it a little bit further. You can take that shadow a little bit deeper. You don't gotta make every line connect. You know what I'm saying? Every line should not be parallel. You should use this color instead of this color. So it was more so just about like that feedback. You know what I'm saying? And that balance.
And it's so funny because I remember just when I first started making art, one of the gems that you gave to me, you know what I'm saying, just in terms of mixing my own paint, you know what I'm saying, like, and just how much that made a difference in my art from just not pouring, you know what I'm saying, strictly from what was made, but creating my own shades, creating my own hues. And in that sense, it's like immersing myself in the art on a whole completely different level, because then even to the outside eye, you know what I mean, they might just see it as whatever, but it's like inherently it already has inner meaning, because regardless of if it's abstract or people might not necessarily appreciate or perceive, you know what I'm saying, the intention behind it, I know that it's come from a pure place. So I want to ask you, what are like, even when I look at these pieces, you know what I'm saying, like when you speak about technique, what are some of your favorite tools? What are your favorite inspirations? What are the things that you kind of have in your toolbox in terms of, you know what I'm saying, things that help you create? Not even necessarily just with painting, not even necessarily just with 3D,
just period.
But exactly.
Shoot, back to the color thing, because I do want to just like blend so bad real quick when it comes to mixing colors, where a lot of people don't understand. So like, I was reading this Doctor Strange book that Ryler gave me today, and essentially it said like he had lost his regular sight, so he was seeing in a whole different world while he was in a regular world, and he noticed the difference from feeling that to feeling like his magical powers again, because he lost his powers as well. And he said it was almost, it was like a breeze of wind rolling across your skin that you notice that a lot of people don't notice. You know what I'm saying? So like when it comes to like mixing your paint and your colors, people would be like, oh, you know, like you just go straight from the tube. But when you go straight from the tube, it's like it's already boring and ordinary. That's a color that's already done. When you mix those colors, it's slightly already altered somebody's view, because whether you know it or not, they've never seen that exact color before. You know what I'm saying? So like it's a new color already in itself, and like that is uniquely, like you said, it's you. You know what I'm saying? So that's one nigga's gonna mix their colors.
Real facts. Real facts. And it's funny because I still want you to answer the question, but even what you just said just sparked something in me when I just think of spontaneity. You know what I'm saying? Because to me that's flow.
Yeah.
Like right there, we're like right there in that moment is not even overthinking. You know, like okay, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. It's more so like I'm seeing this, I'm feeling this, I'm curious about that. From those ingredients comes whatever forth. You know what I'm saying? So I'll say like for me, flow is definitely a huge tool in terms of my toolbox. You know what I'm saying? Like I would be nothing without spontaneous random thought. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I feel like with art, one of the biggest things that hindered me from starting was because of technique. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was like, there's so many.
There's a lot of options.
There's a lot of options. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're bringing vision to life. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to design, when it comes to character design, when it comes to composition, when it comes to proportions. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's real master builder, real architectural thinking. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the other side of creativity. You feel what I mean? Or design, if you want to think about it, where it is the flow, where it is the magic. So, in terms of your experience as an artist, how did you develop each side of the equation? In terms of logic, reasoning, proportion, standard, and then free-flowing thought. You feel what I'm saying? Like, almost left brain, right brain.
So for me, those two things, they kind of exist on different planes. You know what I'm saying? So for pieces like this, these are like very technical. You know what I'm saying? Like I probably did the nose on this probably like 10 times. You know what I'm saying? Before it even got to like where it's at, and it still probably can be a little bit better, but it's like, you know, to even get to that point. But like these are more like well thought out pieces, but then I have like pieces that are more abstract, to where I would go to the bar, I get a drink, and you know, I would literally sit and just, you know what I'm saying, like just take the feeling in. You know what I'm saying? Like think about how I was feeling in that moment, and think about like how my day went, think about how my week went, you know, and just like do whatever on a piece of paper. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of like doing whatever on a piece of paper, you would have a point to where I would like take the technical aspect and add it to the abstract, which is just like finalizing lines, like picking what goes where. And then like sometimes like, you know, I would drop it into the iPad and then I'll do my color selection. But like color selection is again just about like, I would literally think about how I felt in that night. You know, or like how I felt in that moment when I was doing that sketch, you know. But that was like, that's deep in meditation type stuff as well. To be able to like pull those things.
Those emotions and transmute them into colors and moods.
And you know, like transmuting them is one thing, but like actually like pulling those feelings and emotions and the strength of in which you pull them, you know. So like, I describe that as like, I would meditate and I would go to this space. My space is different now, so I can tell you about the older space. The older space is like a huge grassy field with a blue sky. So like, I would go to this space and like at first it would be like, okay, cool, like I'm here. But the deeper I would get into the meditation and the thinking, it would get to a point where I would be like, whoa, like I'm actually here. Like I can feel the breeze, I can feel the grass, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm here, like I can breathe the air, I can feel the cleanliness in the air. And that was crazy. But to be able to do that and then pull these other things was like you know what I'm saying? It's a side effect of just trying to do something else. You know? So you kind of like find that in that. So yeah, like meditation is a tool.
Real.
I think that's a big tool that people should utilize in their art. Color palettes is a tool. Thinking about color is a big tool. I think color is one of my favorite tools, if not my biggest tool, because it allows you to make a lot of mistakes and cover up a lot of mistakes. Because you know what I'm saying? Because you can understand color and like what colors go with what colors. And even if they're colors, people will be like, oh, let's not go with that. But I mean, any color can go with any color in the right way, you know, in the right fashion. So color, meditation, understanding line strokes, what strokes go where and when. The newest one I got right now is it's like a silhouette blocking type of a thing. So in Procreate I made this like square or this rectangle brush, so you can only get like a rectangular angle. Like, so every line is like, you know, but you can get some really cool like warped like 3D angles. So when you drawing it, it'll look almost like, so let's say you're drawing a buffer, I would draw the line like I would draw a C. But in that C, you'll see the curve.
But it'll still almost be in a block to where it's, to
where you can still see, but it's like, it's still 3-dimensional as well. So like I've been practicing with that. That's a great tool right now to just like keep that flow that you're talking about going. Like just practicing and just doing something. Like even if it's like nothing big, I find it just finishing something, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's quick, just finishing something.
Because starting something is one thing, but finishing something
is something else.
You know.
And like I said, even when it's like a little crappy sketch that you feel like is a crappy sketch, you do it quick and you finish it, you know what I'm saying? That gives you more confidence to go on forward and like finish something else. So
it's like the dopamine of completion.
Yeah, almost. I mean, not even the dopamine of completion, but it's like, it's almost like you exercising a muscle, and the muscle is getting stronger and stronger. So next thing you know, like a quick sketch is something that you think is like, oh, really quick, but you done got deep in, you done shaded, you done dropped shadows, you done dropped crazy effect, you done gave it perspective. You done did that in 30 minutes. But in order to get to the 30 minutes, it gotta take you an hour first. You know, so like that's kind of what I'm relearning right now, and I'm kind of like, it's a weird like falling in love with it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause at first it was like, this is, when you first fall in love with it, it's just, man, this is so amazing. This is so brand new. This is so fresh, you know? But like when you spend so many years with it, like you gotta find something to kind of like spark it again.
To be excited about it again.
Yeah, to be excited about it. And like, once you get excited about it, it's just like, man, it's no limits, you know what I'm saying? Do whatever.
And I feel like you're somebody who definitely has a lot of bags, you feel what I'm saying, that you can hop in. Whether it's creative direction, whether it's, like you said, you know, painting, whether it's graphic design, whether it's 3D design, you know what I'm saying? So how do you, well, I mean, I feel like you just answered the question. A lot of it, you have to follow your passion, you know what I mean? So I know how you pick what you focus on in the moments, but how do you best balance that? You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people suffer from, I'm good at everything, so I'm gonna try to do everything, you know what I'm saying, but I end up accomplishing nothing because I'm doing too much.
I mean, sure, I suffer from it too. I won't lie. I think for me right now, the biggest thing is just like, right back to what I was saying, like finishing something. You know what I'm saying? So like, just taking a concept or an idea and fully fleshing it out and saying, this is what it's gonna be. And regardless of like, because we'll always have that like a little talk in the back of our head, like, yo, this is not good enough. You need to change this. You should change this. You should change this. But a lot of time, like, you should probably just leave it alone and just let it be and do what you already done. Put it out and learn from that. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think again, that balance, especially, I'm gonna be 1,000% honest. People can learn anything. You know what I'm saying? You can learn if you really put forth that effort. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it'll take a lot of time. Sometimes it won't take that much time, depending on how it works. But you'll still have those ups and those downs.
It's a process.
It's a process. But like, shoot, man, like it's you know, like the more that you do it, it's just like it's a muscle.
I feel like it's like for me, it's like digging a hole. It's like the more you dig, the more you find that there's stuff to uncover. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's also like a muscle. You feel what I'm saying? Because eventually, sometimes you get tired of digging. You know what I'm saying?
Well, also too, sometimes you gotta simplify like what you're doing and how you're doing. You know, so like if you usually use like a whole marker set, because I got the whole coping marker set. Like if you got the whole coping marker set, use like just pick 2 markers to use. Like you know, like kind of like just force yourself to be like, all right, well, you know,
that's crazy. I feel like that's what I did this year. Okay, that's crazy. Like just because you know normally I paint whatever the fuck ever, but like honestly, but like this year I kind of was like, you know what, let me just stick to certain things and just expound on these things and learn how these colors work in relation to each other.
Those are growing other things,
you know, and then it inspires and then makes you excited about other things. Now, Jimbo, let's cut straight down to it. You feel what I'm saying for the people out here, all right? Because there's a lot of fluff. There's a lot of fluff going on. There's a lot of fluff, flammery, and scammery. So, in your opinion, bro, what makes a good artist? How can people tell? How can people tell the real from the fugazi? You feel what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of fluff. Like, especially in art, you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of times people will look at something and be like, well, that's not worth anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it'll be worth thousands of dollars. And then you'll see somebody who has incredible art, you know what I'm saying? And they might be selling it for $200, $400, $500.
Yeah.
And some people might even think that's expensive, which for some it might be, you know? But how can people not only necessarily find the real from the fake, but how can they help themselves build an art collection that reflects their personality? Like I said, you helped me a lot with mine just by starting me off with an amazing starter piece. And from there, like, I got the bug instantly, you feel me? So what would you say, like I said, is a sign of a good artist? And what would you say is a sign of someone who's sliding down a slippery slope? You feel what I'm saying? Or a perilous path, if you will.
So, there's 2 answers. So I'm gonna give you like a political answer, which is, there is no bad art. You buy what you like. You know what I'm saying? You support what you want to support. You know what I'm saying? Just do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Blah, blah, blah. My real answer is a lot of the times the artists who put in the most like work in the most like, you know what I'm saying, work in the most different ways or like have that most technical work or you know what I'm saying, whatever. Those are usually the people who sometimes like either seclude themselves or they have like an actual like job in the industry where they're doing something else, you know. For somebody like me, if I'm just gonna be totally honest, like I would just prefer not to do anything of that nature. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to work for nobody. I really don't give a fuck to sell no paintings. I really don't, you know what I'm saying, care about any of that. I do have a long-term vision and I have a long-term goal, and it's in a lot of different types of media forms. And I think sometimes when it comes to art in general, I think I'm like veering off of the question, so let me answer.
But no.
But yeah,
Because you feel me good.
But just real quick, just to answer that part. Like truly, like art is art. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Saltz talks about it all the time. Like, old white men have been making bad to mid-grade art for the last forever. Since we've known art to be art, they've been doing it. You know what I'm saying? He was like, who's to say that a black artist who makes that same type of mid-grade art is worse than this guy? He's better than this guy, probably. You know what I'm saying? Or it's worse, but like regardless, like if you like it, you're gonna buy it. At the end of the day, bro, niggas is gonna get what they like. It doesn't. It does not matter. You know what I'm saying? So like, the art that you make should just be art that you like, or art that you should aspire to like want to make, or like, bro, fuck all the who cares, or you know what I'm saying? Like if you want to talk about, you know what I'm saying, a war. If you want to talk about the war in Israel, you want to talk about Palestine. We're not in Israel, but you want to talk about the war in Palestine or in the Gaza Strip. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about those things, you can talk about that. If you want to talk about black lives being taken away because white people just have the ability or the law sometimes in certain places to just do whatever because they feel whatever, and that's a mental illness that we're going to talk about as well because it's been seeded through the country as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a whole other conversation, but like if that's what you want to talk about in your art, you have the power to do that.
Because it's a reality. Because that's your reality. And that's the power of art.
And it don't matter what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you even have the courage or you want to tell that or you want to talk about that in your art or that's what you want to do, I support it. You know what I'm saying? And I like it. But there are times when, yes, I can see when somebody is clearly just doing some shit just for a buck or just to be looked at or like it's no longer about the community or the message. It's about your own self-serving need. You know what I'm saying? Or it's not even about the art. You know, you got some people who just love to make art, you know, and sometimes they'll make some political stuff. That's me. You know, like sometimes I'll dive into that bag and sometimes I won't, but like a lot of the times I just love the technical aspect of the work or I just love the feeling of just like producing something or like getting that feeling off of me. Sometimes I do have a message in my work, you know, and a lot of my work is starting to get to that point now, but like, yeah, that's the, you know, support artists who clearly love what they're doing. You can tell the difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can literally tell the difference. You can tell the people who just wake up and be like, all right, I gotta make 20 paintings today and I gotta sell 5. It's a difference between doing that and saying, and waking up and saying, okay, I know for a fact that I ain't got no cheese and I don't got blah, 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 blah. So I gotta sell these pieces. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference between selling your ass, you know what I'm saying, and like doing what you gotta do to like survive, you know? So,
as an artist, you feel me? Because it is a real war, especially if you want to not work a 9 to 5 and do art full time.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, like, you know how I feel about it. 9 times out of 10, some way or some form or fashion, you're selling your ass. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're having it your way. Unless you're having it your way, you feel what I'm saying? And I feel like the majority, the way life is set up, just in the country you live in the world we live in, most people are gonna have to do what they're gonna have to do in order to survive. Whether that's working a 9 to 5, you feel what I'm saying? Whether that's working for a company that doesn't necessarily align with what they want to do, or what they're even about, sometimes, unfortunately. You know, and I feel like art is one of the realest mediums in the world that does change the world, that does transmute message, that does shift generational thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like music is another one. But I feel like in so many ways, like art is probably one of the biggest tools used in propaganda. You feel what I'm saying? So inherently, we understand the importance of art when it comes to conveying a message. You know what I'm saying? So could you maybe just speak a little bit more on the importance of a story behind a piece and the difference between someone who puts their just work up and then someone who gives the audience something to connect to, something to, you feel what I'm saying, be a part of?
So like I guess it's hard to say just depending on like the art show or like how the art is already presented. You know what I'm saying? Because you can just put art up and not really have opportunity to speak about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People have to catch you, or you have to stand by your piece all night, or like things of that nature. And then there's sometimes where like you'll have the opportunity to like let people know like what your art is about, or like a lot of that kind of dictates that part, unless you throw in your own show.
I'm all for throwing his own shows.
Yeah,
you have a lot of experience with that, and I definitely want to get into that as well.
10K off for throwing your own shows, man. Like, just find a venue, put your own art show on, and like promote it, and just promote it, and like let your homies promote it, and like promote it. And just really like just be 10 toes down with it, and like let that be the thing that you like do.
Real. Now, I just want to stop you right here because you've definitely thrown a lot of art shows just that I've been to that you've made a lot of people some cheese. You feel what I'm saying? Like you've given a lot of artists an opportunity, to show their work to an audience they might not have gotten otherwise. And not only that, you've been a part of a lot of different art shows yourself. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like you've definitely been in the trenches, and then you've also had the spotlight. You feel what I mean? So you've seen it from start to finish, and even though you're not done, in terms of a lot of people's goals, I can say that you've hit a lot of those stages. You feel what I'm saying? Even though you're still figuring out new stages and new goals for yourself, you've always kind of found a way, you feel what I'm saying, to execute.
Yeah.
So one thing I can ask is, what makes a good art show? What makes a good art exhibition? You feel what I'm saying? Like if someone wanted to throw their own event, what are the ingredients necessary to throw a good show?
So for me, the thing that I always thought about was when I would go to art shows, I would go to the shows, I would look at the art. If I didn't have money to buy the art, you know what I'm saying, I'll probably just like get a little booklet or something, and I would look at the art and I would leave. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I'll think about it, maybe I won't. But like that would be my whole experience with art shows and like things that I look to. They'll have a DJ that have wine, all those things. So I felt like for me, my people from Mississippi, you know what I'm saying? We Southern folk, we really get to it. And like we real big on feeding people. I'm skinny, I know I'm small, but like I can eat, but like that's a real big thing for me. So I always thought food was a great way to like build community and like make people like remember things or like smells, you know what I'm saying? Or like that whole experience in itself. So like I think my first art show, it was like I met this shorty and she was just like, she liked my art so much. She was like, yo, I do like one of your characters on like these these cupcakes. And I was like, okay. And I didn't think she was serious. And then she did. Like she did like a whole like tray of cupcakes on all my characters on there. And I was like, dang, wow. And she just did that off the love. I was just like, just give them away. And I was like, cool, And my homie Eddie, we did like bacon shell tacos.
I think I remember those.
Yeah.
Oh, that was back before I gave it up.
So that's why we always like, and that's the thing with like Edward, like he went to culinary school for a little bit, so any like crazy food idea that we would see or that we would have, like he would just always chef it up. You know what I'm saying? Or we would just try crazy stuff. So like I kind of applied that to what we were doing. So that was like my first art show. Then we did cartoons and cereal, which even to this day, outside of that Murals and Sliders at Midland in Highland Park, to this day I feel like that probably would have been the craziest like art show like that we had ever thrown, because it was me, Candace, and Maddie. Designer Maddie, Rare Candy Slice. And we just did our favorite cartoons, our pictures of our favorite cartoons, and we just made like paintings and, prints or whatever. And I just remember, bro, like, just being nervous. Like, I hope people, like, come. Like, cause the back was, like, crazy from an event before. They told us something was gonna be a certain way. It wasn't a certain way. So, like, I was already just, like, tripping. And I'm like, man, this is about to be so fudged. And I just remember, bro, within, like, the first 10 minutes of the show opening, it was, like, 20 people outside just, like, waiting. And I'm like, what's going on here? And it's like, people just keep coming and coming, and like, you get to a point where like, we go and I look outside and it's like the line to like get in the joint. And the police come in and shut it down. And they're like, yeah, we heard it. There's drugs in here. Like, they knocking on the wall, and I'm like, bro, like, what?
Y'all doing a bust for some art.
We find out the owner of Firewater called the police because he wanted to like buy the building or whatever.
Wow.
So it was a whole bunch of just like underhanded, just like weird stuff. But Firewater closed down. Ruined my art show. But yeah, no, that was like the amount of people. I've never seen that many people like coming to an art show. And then from there we went to Murals and Sliders, which we did out of the lofts, and did the first one. And it was cool. People came out. I live painted just like a mural. Had my homie do some poetry. Just had music playing. We did chicken and waffles. I think chicken and waffle sliders. Yeah, and that was cool. And from there, like we just kind of just like kept doing those. And the more we were doing them, it was just like, okay, like this is kind of something.
You got some momentum.
This is kind of cool, you know. And one feeling I'll never like forget is like painting, and then like looking when you first start painting, nobody's there. So you get that feeling of just like, oh man, ain't nobody gonna show up. I'm about to just start painting, man. Nobody gonna be here the whole time. And like you fall into just like this rhythm and this flow. And then there's a point where like you kind of just like, okay, man, maybe I need to grab like some water or I need to go to the bathroom. And you look back and it's like people staring at you. Or it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't really got space to like move or maneuver. So like, those times were just, you know, like that was just something where it was like you had to feed people, you had to give people entertainment, like music, like the vibes had to be on point. Your DJ had to be right. Man. The music had to be right. The food has to be right. You have to have enough food. Even if you run out of food, that's cool. But you know what I'm saying? Like within the ample amount of time. Of course, like complimentary wine and just stuff like that. And if you have complimentary drinks, that's always great. But yeah, like just making sure people are comfortable. And like number one thing is make sure the ladies are good. Like make sure they're comfortable. Make sure like ain't no creeps, no like weird energy. If something goes down, it's weird. Like it should be people around to check that and like make sure that's cool. So like I think that is like, for me, that's one of the most important things. Like, I want to make sure if a shorty want to come in and have a good time and not be bothered, like that can happen. Even if a dude want to come, you know what I'm saying? Even for the homies, like everybody should know, like, okay, this is one of those places where can't nobody be on no jive. Like nobody should be on board. This should just be one of them times where we should just be enjoying each other in the time that we got. You know? So yeah,
that's real. And so, yeah, I definitely feel what you're saying in terms of making an event a safe space, especially when it comes to artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, so one thing I can say is, I know a lot of artists have issues putting themselves out there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of artists wonder, if they're maybe not in the position to throw a show, like, how do I get my art even featured in a show? So, could you say something towards maybe the importance of putting yourself out there? You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna have to if you want to have something happen, like and being able to enter a community without necessarily, how I say this, because I feel like there's this trend of people trying to offer themselves into circles that they're not a part of necessarily, and then getting offended when they don't necessarily feel recognized by that. Like, and if I can just cut completely straight through to what I see, you know what I'm saying? So how does somebody, if they do want to join an artistic community, if they do want to engage in a scene, what are like some of the do's and don'ts of navigating, entering, or coming into that relationship? I feel like you already said a great one. Rule number one, don't be a creep. like, please don't be a creep. Please don't do the most, because that's...
That right there, that's number one, gang. You know what I'm saying? I got sisters, I got so many aunties, I like, when the ladies are comfortable, you know what I'm saying, like, and are having a good time, everyone else will proceed to have a good time, because usually there are no issues, you know. And if dude's got an issue, y'all can just get kicked out and y'all can leave, and everybody else can continue to have a good time. Alright, so back to what you were saying. Oh, so integrating into the art scene. So for me, if I'm just gonna be very honest, I was very lucky. I had something like, it was almost like like I said, it was an incubator space already. There were so many people around. It was hard for me not to bump into people and meet people and like get people's names and like, you know, just like be an extrovert, you know, because my biggest thing right now is being an introvert. I can be an extrovert and introvert, you know, but I prefer to be in the house. I prefer to be with my dog. I prefer to chill. I prefer to just like hang, you know.
Shout out to Magic.
Yeah, Magic has been in here. So like, that's my thing. But honestly, I feel like the best way to like really integrate yourself, if there isn't like too much of anything going on, it's like, you know, just find people to kind of nerd out with. And I want people to like, you know, like, the internet is a thing.
I was just about to say, yep.
So like, we have seen a lot of internet. Low-key, we saw the start of the social
sure.
media era.
For sure.
So MySpace,
Yahoo Messenger.
yeah, well, I wasn't introduced to MySpace. My people wouldn't have it.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying?
Chat rooms. Y'all don't know about
chat rooms. Y'all know the chat. I used to be in a chess chat room that was not a chess chat room.
You feel me?
It was insane. I'm like, what are y'all like? How we get here?
Man, what a time.
Bro, what a different time. But like, we saw MySpace first for me. It was MySpace.
That was the one.
Of course, I only mess with the people I knew on MySpace. And we got the Facebook.
Black Planet too.
Yeah, I got on Black Planet. I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling it.
That wasn't the HTML code.
Yeah, it was a lot. A lot of those were a lot for me, bro. Like,
I should have stuck with code, and I had things right there, but it was a lot. You're right. Like all that just to get some $sign backgrounds.
Come on, bro. Like I can just code my little joint on MySpace, go crazy. I need the little click joints. You feel me? But and then Facebook popped up, and then that's when I kind of started like mixing and mingling with people in like other schools and other spaces, and just like off of just like, I think it was just more so random stuff that we like or we connected on. So you have a mutual friend and somebody comment on something, and then like those were the days where you can have, showing our age. You can be in somebody's comments and carry a whole conversation.
Yeah, as a complete stranger.
As a complete stranger.
Yeah, it's facts.
And then after this whole 30-minute reply session in this person's comments, you follow each other. You know what I'm saying? And then this person posts something that you like and you joking and you keep keying. So then that transforms into, Facebook. That goes to, it was some other stuff in between there.
Xbox gamer tag. that's what you know. That's what you know the friendship's been solidified.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hey, hit me on here. But then we got that. Then like Twitter hit. I was on Twitter in 2010.
Yeah.
Started 2010.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
started in 2009. I was on there started 2010. Still got my same account. I be trying to delete that joint, but I catch myself every time.
Hey man, you never know, dog.
I mean, it's just cool to have and just be like, yo, I had this joint since.
You know what I'm saying?
But
they ain't cancel me yet. Cheers.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Ain't cancel yet. Ain't had no issues with my account. Ain't had nothing, man. Y'all get your weight up, man. But no. But like, yeah, that. And like, I started to just like, again, just be chatty. And that's where you can get quote retweets, and like meet people on there. So like, I mean, in between that, meet people on there, I did sports and I did athletics. So between sports and athletics, that allowed me to meet people from other schools, and like, you know, so like I've always kind of been, it's crazy for me to say this, I've always been in the mix.
Real.
You know what I'm saying? Of like, whatever it is that's going on. So like, even the sports stuff, you meet people through the summer camps, and you connect with them on social media or whatever, and you go to these other schools, and like, I had a homeboy, bro, I don't even know how I like, met his sister, like we started like being cool, but like we started being cool, and she went to a whole other school, way far out. Cody, she went to Cody. Yeah.
That's Cody.
She went to Cody. Yeah, so went to Cody, but like she went to Cody, and like somehow we became like just like best friends, and like we would chop, and then like we would just hang out and just be like, you know, that was my dog. But yeah, like stuff like that, and then even to like the most recent stuff like Clubhouse, and again like it's kind of crazy to think that we've been in social media the whole time, and like and like as I'm talking to you, I'm kind of realizing a pattern. You know what I'm saying? And just like
building community.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, if I'm gonna be in this space, I might like, what's the? And no disrespect to my homies, but it's like I can talk to y'all on the phone. I can talk to y'all here. I can talk to y'all whenever. I see y'all tweets. I see y'all everything. You know what I'm saying? I might not see it all the time, but when I see it, I see it. And if it's something where I'm like, all right, I'm interacting. But like outside of that, I can call you. So like something like Clubhouse, where it was just like, why do I want to just continue to be, you know what I'm saying? Like the same circles, you know? So like that's where I kind of just get that like urge. So like I got a group of people, like 6 or 7 of us, still talk to those people to this day. Got each other's numbers, and each other's close friends, like shoot each other texts, just like, you know, all love. And sometimes we like chop art, sometimes we chop life, sometimes it's just like, you know, but like it's really just about like just connecting, you know what I'm saying? So
relationships.
Yeah, relationships. So fuck all like what somebody can do for you, fuck all the collabs, like in truth and just like in all honesty, because like I've been in every stage that we talking about, you know what I'm saying? So like when people be like, oh, you know, like how can so and so feel like this? Well, I felt like that. Like let's just be point blank, period, and honest. I've been a hater. I've been like let's be real. You know what I'm saying? I've been a hater. I've been somebody who be like, damn, that should have been me, and blah blah blah.
It's real. I feel like
weak shit.
I mean,
what I'm saying?
It's a part of human emotions. But if you don't face it, then you'll never replace it. Hold on, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Get that hate out your heart, people.
Get the hate out
your
heart.
It will slow you down.
For real. And like if you don't take time to like, the real thing is when you feel that, or when you see that, you ask yourself,
where is it coming from?
Where is it coming from? And like, what is it that I'm not doing that's making me look at this person in this manner?
Because that's really what it is. It's
just
a reflection of your inner
state. That's all it is. So like, y'all, when y'all feel that feeling, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't outwardly just be like, oh, blah, blah. Ask yourself why you feel that way.
It's facts.
All the time, most of the time, 98% of the time, it's just something that you're not doing that you need to do. So like, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But don't hate on niggas outwardly. Like, don't.
You feel what I'm saying?
Like, even if you got like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just show love, bro. Like, a lot of the times, man, like when you're feeling like that, the cure to it is just showing love. Like, you'd be surprised how many times when you have an option, you have a choice sometimes. It's a very split second. You got a choice to like change how you react to something or to change how you respond to something. So like, somebody can shoot you something, they can say something to you, you hear or you like receive a text and you just be like, your first thought is, fuck. You have, in the moment where you saying fuck you, after you get that fuck you off and you read it again and you think to yourself, well, wait, why did I say, did I do something to even like get to this point? If you didn't, okay, it might be cool, whatever. If you did, take it on the chin, keep fucking walking, bro. So like, it's just really all about like accepting.
Yes. I think there's a real power in acceptance, for sure.
Because I feel like the longer you run from something, like the longer it kind of haunts you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I definitely feel like that's a huge gem because hating gets you nowhere. Like hating slows you down so much and it's so crazy. And showing love honestly gets you so far. But it's a specific type of love that I feel like you gotta show. Like you have to show that selfless love, not the I'm showing this love because I'm expecting something back in return.
I'm gonna show the love to the people who I want to show the love to.
You know what I'm saying?
And that can be, whatever. Like I'm gonna show love how I decide to show love.
And I feel like when you come with genuine intentions for real, then I feel like it's met in return 9 times out of 10. Like at least in my experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also feel like you gotta be discerning. You feel what I'm saying? Because
Sure.
it's very easy to drain yourself. It's very easy to tap yourself out from showing too much love.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I wanna ask about definitely to get your insight on, in terms of mental health, you feel what I'm saying? In terms of maintaining that balance, in terms of making sure you're doing the necessary self-care to not drain yourself too much. You know what I'm saying? Especially as artists, I know, man, like the hours required, just to perfect this craft, just to be able to really have some motion out here, if I'm being frank, you know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy, it's a real sacrifice, like it's a different type of demand. So what could you say just in terms of your journey when it comes to managing, you feel what I'm saying, your mental and being able to balance, you know what I'm saying, the demand versus setting aside the time for yourself?
It's probably gonna be the only time I get in my like Jimbo bag. Alright, so listen, I don't give a fuck what nobody say about nothing, bro. Take your time and make what the fuck you wanna make. That shit don't matter. None of that shit matters, bro, like at all. So no one cares. No one cares. Put it out when you put it out. Make the work that you want to make. If you feel like you're not good enough and there's somebody that can show you how to be better, ask that person. You know what I'm saying? Don't have your head so far up your ass to where you can't ask for favors and you can't ask somebody to show you some shit. Because that is the real true power of art. That is the whole part, the point of art is community. So like, you should be able to go and ask somebody, hey, I don't know how to do this. Can you teach me how to do this? But you can't be asking that without having a righteous intention or a good heart when you're asking that, or something to bring to the table when you are asking that question. So a lot of the times I will openly share and I will openly give, but I find that the issue becomes when you openly give like that and you openly share, people are just like, it's like everything turns into $1.
They take it light.
You know what I'm saying? They take it light and they don't take it serious and they don't, and then it's like,
that's that game is to be sold, not told.
Yeah.
And that's where I didn't understand it at first. I always just try to show the love, but you have to create the value or else they won't appreciate it.
Some of that stuff is just like, and that's it's not like I don't want to share secrets and like tips and tricks with niggas, but it's like also, I'm not,
Things are to be worked for.
Things are to be worked for, and like if we fucking with each other like that, and like I see what you're doing, and it's just like, all right, I have something to add to you.
I'm gonna help you where I can. But nothing's given, and I feel like a lot of people have that attitude.
No, I mean, listen. Don't get me wrong. Some shit is to be given.
Fair enough.
Some shit is not to be sold. Some shit is not for you to break nobody back over trying to give them the information because it ain't that deep. Some shit is truly to be given.
That's real.
But some stuff, if I'm just gonna be 100% honest with you, have to they can give you all the tools right in front of you. All the work ethic and like everything it takes to actually use those tools, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? So like,
because you can have the recipe, but that don't mean you can cook the dish. You feel me?
Because I mean, it's a lot of chefs in the kitchen, bro. There's a lot of chefs in the kitchen, but not everybody Mario Batata.
Okay.
not everybody is like these guys, bro. Like no, like not everybody is that. So,
real facts, man. Thank you, bro. I just feel like you honestly just dropped so many gems right there, like in everything that you said. I feel like there's just so many questions I want to ask you, and I know like we're kind of coming close to the time. So, one of the ones that I really, really like. All right, I want to ask you like a work-related question, and then I want to ask you like a personal question. You feel what I'm saying? So, for the work-related question, I want to ask you in terms of what I like to call digital art versus analog art. Man, I kind of want to bridge this into a different story too. What is your experience with both fields in digital art and in analog art in terms of like painting? You feel what I'm saying? Murals especially, because I know it's a whole process in itself. What would you say are the differences in learning and creating in the different fields, and then how do they intersect?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is feel. That's like the biggest thing between digital art and analog art or physical art, whatever people call it. It's just like feel. So like you got an iPad screen or whatever screen you're using. Of course you'll get like that pencil light. Some of them will give you the grip, or you'll get like a pencil like nib or whatever. But still, it's just like in order for you to get like a different type of stroke, either your brush has to already be set to that, or like you gotta change your brush a little bit, or you gotta change whatever, which is easier. Like it's a lot quicker because you just tap on something, you know. When I'm painting, and I know it's like, I probably use on average probably like 3 or 4 of the same brushes. I usually don't go out of those brushes. But it's just like knowing those brushes after you lay down your base coats and everything. It's like, all right, well, clean it. Gotta make sure there's no paint in it. Gotta take the paper towel and like scrape the joint off. If you're an oil painter, like that's a whole other thing in itself. It actually is a lot easier to get paint out of,
Oils and acrylics.
Whole another conversation, but like, so that you got that. To me, it is that way. Oil painters might feel differently because I'm acrylic paint. That's really the main difference. And cost and supplies. So you got physical art, you have to get your paints, your pencils. You got a pencil for this, I don't really subscribe to that no more. But like, you got certain stuff for certain things. So that's really the biggest thing is just like cost, feel. You can really get just about any type of texture or variation that you're looking for with the iPad, depending on what brushes you use.
We're at that point now.
Yeah, we at that point. So like, that's the AI for Procreate is just like phenomenal.
Yeah, I still gotta tap in. I'm not gonna lie. I still gotta see about it.
It's one of the best ones, bro. Like you just gotta think, like for you to have all of these settings for your brushes and to be changing them, and like you have a jitter and you have like this and like a lot of that stuff you think is just like one fluid motion when it's just a whole bunch of chunks of lines put together. So like you can adjust different things and different settings in that. So as you can hear, I'm a technical nerd.
And that's real. Yeah. So again, let me ask. So, in terms of the intersection, right? Because I know at least for sure with murals, you'll do a sketch on the iPad, and then that sketch on the iPad kind of helps with the paintings somewhat. So, like, could you kind of speak on how the digital aspect has kind of streamlined your acceleration as an artist?
I mean, well, I don't have to print off a picture and like throw sketch paper on top of it and have a light box in order for me to get that sketch, or I don't have to guess and I don't have to do any of that. Take a picture of the building. I can draw right on top of that picture, or I can do a sketch and lay it over the top of that and just figure out my dimensions, do a lazy grid, figure out how far I need to go, or you know what I'm saying, where I need to go with that. And I mean, it's just superimpose your picture, find your lines, and I mean, that's it. Really with the murals now, if you do blending and stuff like that, a whole different game, whole different talk.
And it's funny because I want to ask, because I know it's some artists out there who want to take that big dog step. Because listen, I know the murals is a whole different ball game.
It's just like everything else. You just gotta do it, bro. That's it. It's like, I mean, that's it. You just have to start, man. You just gotta get the practice in and the reps. But it's hard to get the practice in and the reps because it's hard to find people to
a huge camp.
You know what I'm saying?
So I know you definitely had a nice amount under your belt. You feel what I'm saying? And you've also assisted on a nice amount as well. So if you could just drop some quick gems to maybe someone who's looking to start doing murals, what are some of the do's and don'ts of doing a good mural?
Really scope out. Well, the do's are really scope out where it is that you're painting. Understand how much paint you'll actually need to get the job done. Know how much that paint is going to cost. Know how much you're going to be getting after you pay for paint, scaffolding, and like all these other things, so that you're just not working for free. Set your costs into that. Also, too, I think one thing I like to do with people, like I want to remind people of, is like when it comes to artists, like people don't gotta pay you to do it. You know what I'm saying? They just want it, or it's a beautification thing. So sometimes I like to work with small businesses or people who want multiple pieces of artwork in their businesses. You know what I'm saying? Or I can be like, all right, well I can stamp this place. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, this is just nothing but my art here. Work with those people. Don't crack them over the head. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, make sure your pricing is fair and reasonable for where you are in your career. And shoot, man, that's really it. Know your measurements, know your subject matter and what's going where and why your art is going in that place. Make sure your art fits where it's going. And yeah, that's it, honestly. Those are the main things. Don't bullshit. Don't not respond to the person paying you to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Always be very communicative. Just be there. Again, communication is just a huge thing, I think, with that, because things can get misunderstood very quickly if you are not in the right place, or you're not really understanding what somebody's saying. Sometimes calls are better than text messages, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
So I feel like it just cuts straight through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The back and forth waiting time.
Yeah, because you can get some real, like, you'll be like, oh man.
And
you can take something that's like,
it can be misconstrued.
Yeah, it can be misconstrued, so that's not what you want. Yeah, bro. Oh yeah, man, just and don't be a messy painter, man. Clean up. Make sure your stuff is clean. Make sure you don't mess up and get paint where you're not supposed to get it. I think that's a big thing too.
That's real.
So take as your friend.
Man, thank you, bro. Like for the people out there, I already know, like those alone can make or break you for real. And
it's the small stuff always.
It's the small stuff always. So again, all right. We're almost running out of time, so we're definitely gonna have to get a part 2 in. But before we go, I have a couple more questions that I want to ask. So, on a personal note, what has you excited right now? Just passionately excited about learning about working on? What's kind of got your eye? What's got your focus and attention? In anything. It doesn't even necessarily have to be in art, but just in general.
I'd say, bro, honestly, just routine. I think that's the thing that's probably like giving me the most like joy and excitement right now. The happiest parts of my day, weirdly enough, are like the most like just like pure feel with joy parts. Is like just that 30 minutes of walking the dog in the morning. You don't really gotta like think about nothing. You don't really gotta hear nothing. That's like a really just like Yeah, so I think the thing that's exciting me right now is just like routine. And just having something to fall back on every day and just something consistent.
You just reminded me of another question I wanted to ask.
To cook shit. Because honestly, the routine is what just keeps everything flowing. You know what I'm saying? To keep everything kind of going. So if I pay attention to that, then yeah. So that's the thing I'm the most excited about.
That's real, man. And I feel like routine and habit are honestly some of the most powerful things that change your life in general. Like those, honestly, those are what makes or breaks you.
Yeah,
for sure. And I just kind of want to go back to something you said earlier in terms of you being involved in athletics. And you know, I know you have a competitive nature, and you take that whether it's athletics or whether it's art. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like you've gotten a lot better now in terms of just being with all the love and letting people live. But I know you got that dog in you, James. Like I can't say any way about it. So maybe could you speak on some of the lessons or some of the similarities from athletics between athletics and art?
First thing again is routine.
Repetition.
And just like one thing that I kind of been thinking about with art lately, and even in just like sport in general, is just like, what do you want to accomplish when you go out there? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, what are your spots? What are your strong points? What are your weak points? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are the things that you're trying to attack? Like, what are you trying to accomplish out here? You know what I'm saying? Because there is no, but sports is somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I play tennis, so. I play ball too, and I did track, but like tennis is probably that one sport to where it's like everybody's like, oh, you know, you're either playing against the person across the net or the other two people. Like, nah, you're really playing against yourself for real. Like a lot of that stuff, the mistakes that you make out there usually are because you made the mistake most of the time. It's not because you were put in a compromising situation where that person is that much better than you. It's just because you keep making those errors. Sometimes those people are that much better than you and they can just put you where they want to put you. You know what I'm saying? But that's just tennis in general. It's just like knowing your spots and knowing where to place somebody or knowing where to place the ball, or I know that you can't hit it, or it's going to put you in an awkward position to like get back after the next hit. So like you can lob it over my head, cool, get back, knock it to this left corner over here, or right corner over here, hits that right corner. You're all the way in the right side. You can't really get back over here, or you can't get to the net. So I'll just chop it and it's just gonna bounce once, and then that's my point. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like kind of knowing what you want to do. That's something I've been focusing on. So like, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And with sports, man, like a lot of that is technique too, and like footwork, and like knowing where to be, and like knowing if you got a teammate, like knowing where your teammate is, and like knowing where people are, just having a vision and just like a will and want to just be better and execute. You know what I'm saying? Like every move gotta be better than the last move.
It's so crazy you're saying this, because to me, like, now it's like you're talking about chess. You feel what I'm saying?
I mean, that's what tennis is. That's moving chess. It's moving chess. Tennis is moving chess for sure. Basketball kind of is too, when you get to like the real X's and O's and like the NBA and like where every possession matters in the playoffs type stuff. Like, you can make a turnover in the first quarter.
Or 2K, because now 2K is really advanced. you can't fool around all there.
Like, bro, like if a game's so intense, bro, you make a turnover in the first quarter, you really might only have 5 or 6 errors that you can really make in that game.
Until it's over, yeah.
You know, so like you got stuff like that, and it's just like in knowing that, everything else begins to like get tighter. So it's, yeah, sports is that's the only thing about art. I was low-key telling the homie, I was like, man, I really wish like sometimes that art could be like rap or just like sports where you can just go at somebody, but it is not like that, you know. Maybe it shouldn't be like that. But I mean, like, it's cool, you know. So I'll leave that to where it's supposed to be. That's real.
Man. Yeah. I feel like I have time for one more.
I'll give you one more.
Man,
My phone.
it's just so many. It's so many. Let's see. Okay. So I just want to say, first off, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. You feel what I'm saying? Just let me pick your brain, bro. I definitely appreciate it. I'm definitely gonna have to get a part 2. So for sure, we're definitely gonna have to have you back. But I kind of want to leave off on this last question. It's kind of a 2-parter. So, how has Detroit impacted your art? And for someone who isn't from Detroit, you feel what I'm saying, who might not be from a cultural hub, how can they find their flow as an artist? Do you have any good book recommendations, any good videos, any artists to study, any stories to assimilate? What can you leave people with?
So, first part of that question was what?
How Detroit impacts your art?
Oh, so I mean, I've been seeing downtown Detroit and Detroit in general for my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I've been here my whole life. But downtown Detroit specifically, like 2009 to now.
Crazy.
And like, it was truly like Gotham City. You know what I'm saying? And very dark. And it was some very like crazy, shiesty times. And you know what I'm saying? Buses used to run different and all this different types of stuff. Even Woburn was like a totally different place. But like, I still made like super colorful art. You know what I'm saying? And like still like super colorful stuff. And I think the more that I understood what art was and like understood the city and just understood the people in the city and like my place in the city and like where I wanted my place to be, I think the most that's changed is probably my color palette. Subject matter has always been about just like black people, you know what I'm saying? It's some nigga shit always, like it's always about black people. You'll have some characters that are, of course, you know, you can't really tell, but yeah. There's that, and the second question was?
How can someone who doesn't necessarily come from an artistic city or have a hub, how can they find their flow as an artist? I know you kind of mentioned the internet, kind of taking inspirations from there. But how can somebody not only, you feel what I'm saying, take in outside information, how can they go within themselves to find the artist in themselves?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is just like draw inspiration from the people around you. You know what I'm saying? And like, if you're in a small town where like it's not a lot of artists, or you're not really trying to, or you can't really connect with a lot of artists, it's just like, I ain't gonna lie, man. You gotta kind of get out there. Like, there's really no way around it. You
gotta
feel me?
go.
There's really no way around it, man. Like,
You gotta go. If you want it for real, like you gotta be where it's going.
And usually, if I'm just being very honest, like it's always one friend that's pushing you to tell you to do something. You know what I'm saying? If you have friends like that, and I know that's a hard thing to come about to. People are the way they are. But like, shoot, bro. Find you some friends. If your friends like it, you like it. That's all that matters. Just make the work, bro. And like, just keep putting yourself out there. And just be uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just do stuff that you're not really used to doing. And I'm doing that now. So like,
Pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, always push the boundaries. And it's like, oh, I really don't feel comfortable doing this or feel comfortable doing that. And I have people who push me and be like, well, you want to be X, Y, and Z, so you have to do these other things. So it's like, for a little bit, you know, you can waste time, but
it's gonna go regardless. So you might as well use it because it's gonna go regardless for sure.
That's all from experience, not from no other place. So everybody else will tell you, oh, I'm perfect, I'm great. No, this shit is not easy. This shit is hard. This shit is work. Like, and sometimes you're not gonna get everything you think you deserve, and that's what it is. So you can work harder, and you can get what you want, and you can get what you deserve, or you can just cry about it.
And work smarter. Let's say that as
smarter
well.
too. I mean, work smart. You can work smart and hard at the same time.
That's the best way to do it. 1000%. I feel like. For sure. Man.
Yes, sir.
Man, thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you for dropping these gems for sure.
Hey man, shout out to the black community.
Man, shout out to the black community for real, 1,000,000,000%. Now, before we go, is there anything that the people can expect from you? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to let people know to look out for in the future?
I ain't plugging nobody else shit but mine and Gully shit, man. I can't even pronounce the mixtape cover or the mixtape because the shit is just, this thing I always want to pick these names. But it's hard. Go check it out.
Yeah, you already know we plugging it in. Yup. You already know the skinny thing's coming.
Picture or
it's popping up on the screen. You know it.
Yeah, that. But outside of that, man, no. You ain't gonna see that shit when it drops. Leave me alone.
100. We out of here, y'all. Stay blessed.